Just because Lamb Yumu wore a short dress to a wine party, the leader misunderstood it as a flirtatious signal from her. With a lecherous expression, he insisted she drink a glass with him. Come on, have a glass of baijiu with me here. Seeing her hesitate, his wingman quickly chimed in to provoke her. Secretary Lamb, just because you're pretty doesn't mean you can skip out on drinking. Everyone's words were filled with threats, and Yumu, feeling humiliated, had no choice but to raise her glass. Under the smug gaze of the leader, she reluctantly bent down and toasted with him. Unexpectedly, the next moment, a well-dressed man suddenly burst in. With a grim expression, he smashed the glass on the floor. Just one look, and Yumu froze on the spot. It turned out, the man was Tam Veen, her first love, whom she had heartlessly abandoned 10 years ago. She never expected their reunion to happen under such awkward circumstances. Before she could even process it all, she learned that he was about to get married. Tomorrow night, I'm taking my fiancée to meet my mother. Though Yumu still loved Mr. Veen deeply, she forced a polite smile. Because her current identity was that of a spy, sent by his mother to evaluate his future daughter-in-law. Yumu was tasked with giving Fifi, Mr. Veen's soon-to-be wife, a harsh assessment, laying out a series of strict conditions. After marriage, Chairman Tran hopes you'll be a full-time housewife. Though Yumu was simply relaying the chairman's message, in Mr. Veen's eyes, she came off as meddling and judgmental. I see you've gotten used to being a dog on a leash. Even your values are broken now. Just because my mother supports you, you think you can come here and insult my girlfriend? Despite the years apart, Mr. Veen's ridicule still pierced Yumu's heart. She hurriedly ended the conversation, but he chased after her. Can't you think for yourself? Just doing whatever my mother tells you? Do you even know what people say about you? Do others' opinions really matter? Can they pay for your social security? Mr. Veen would never understand the reason Yumu obeyed the chairman's every word. It was all because of a deal made 30 years ago. Back then, Yumu's mother was gravely ill and needed expensive surgery. But coming from a modest family, Yumu couldn't afford it. At her lowest point, the chairman stepped in and paid for the treatment. But it came with a condition. Leave, Mr. Veen. Don't blame me for being ruthless. I know my son better than anyone. He will never end up with you. Moreover, there was a deep chasm of wealth and status between Yumu and Mr. Veen that couldn't be crossed. However, the chairman saw Yumu's excellent academic performance and decided to give her a chance. Work for me. Stay away from Mr. Veen. If 10 years from now, he's not married and you're still single, I won't interfere with you two anymore. At the time, her mother's illness couldn't wait. Yumu had no choice but to agree to the deal. She broke up with Mr. Veen, saying her feelings had faded. No matter how much he tried to hold on, she was determined to leave. Heartbroken, Mr. Veen went abroad. Now, with only 60 days left before the 10-year agreement expired, he returned to the country. Seeing another woman by his side, Yumu could only bury her pain and lock her feelings deep within her heart. Unexpectedly, to take revenge for being dumped in the past, Mr. Veen offered her a high-paying part-time job, triple the average wage. I'm hiring you part-time. Help me come up with 70 strategies, a full plan to win over Fifi, so she'll never want to leave me. Not wanting to let him see her panic or heartbreak, Yumu agreed without hesitation. Fine. Transfer some money first to show your sincerity. The next day, Mr. Veen prepared dozens of different breakfasts for Fifi and even brought Yumu along to visit her at the film set. To their surprise, Fifi immediately noticed that Mr. Veen still had feelings for Yumu. So she deliberately said, "Tell your secretary Lamb to apologize to me for what happened yesterday." "What happened yesterday was your mom's idea," Yumu responded. Mr. Veen instinctively defended Yumu and tried to calm Fifi down, which only made Fifi more certain of his lingering feelings. "Why do you sound like you're defending her?" "All right then." To prove he no longer had feelings for Yumu, Mr. Veen turned to her and asked her to apologize to Fifi. Fifi didn't do anything, yet she was harshly scolded by you. "I feel bad for her. I feel sorry for my future wife. Is that wrong?" His words were like a sharp sword, cutting off Yumu's last shred of hope. She pretended to be calm and gently apologized to Fifi. Fifi just smiled and said, "I was just joking with Mr. Veen." Determined to draw a clear line with Mr. Veen, Yumu tried to walk away, but to her surprise, he insisted on taking her home. It turned out, that day was her birthday. Even she had forgotten it, but Mr. Veen remembered clearly. He had even prepared a cake and a gift for her. However, there was no joy in Yumu's eyes, only a deep, overwhelming sense of sorrow. Over the past 10 years, in her pursuit of approval from the chairman, Yumu had always worked hard outside and never once celebrated her birthday. So when she learned that Mr. Veen wanted to celebrate her birthday merely as a friend, she couldn't bring herself to refuse. After a few bottles of beer, Yumu's emotions were on the verge of collapse. But no matter how sad she felt, she didn't dare express her feelings or allow herself to sink into sorrow, because the next day, she had to pull herself together and keep going like a workhorse. Yumu fell asleep after an exhausting night, and Mr. Veen gently covered her with a blanket. That quiet moment through the window spoke louder than 1,000 words. It was protection, care that he always tried to hide. The next morning, that peace was shattered by a sharp, tension-filled exchange. Mr. Veen mocked her, calling her ungrateful. Yumu, bristling like a hedgehog, was embarrassed when he noticed the wound on her leg. However, the brief tenderness vanished as they attended an important bidding meeting for Dukmang Corporation. The arrival of Thuong Koi Tin cast a dark shadow over the room. He wasn't just a rival. He was a cunning predator, with a smirk and razor-sharp words. Right then and there, he declared he would pursue her. Mr. Veen could no longer remain calm. During the presentation, Lamb Yumu delivered a convincing pitch, but Thuong Koi Tin, having meticulously prepared, launched a vicious attack. He played a heavily edited surveillance video suggesting that my Deuce products had serious flaws. This wasn't just a baseless accusation, it was a poisoned arrow, paired with a smear campaign on social media. Mr. Veen was forced into a corner and had to give the company 3 days to uncover the truth and clear its name. The storm in the meeting room briefly subsided. In the pouring rain, Mr. Veen dropped another bombshell. He revealed a secret from the night before. You were drunk last night and treated me like a tree hollow to pour your heart into. You talked about everything. What did I say? She asked. You said, Mr. Veen, you're a bastard. Those words cut through the silence like a knife. They weren't just drunken ramblings. They were the truth her rational mind had tried so hard to bury. The next night, he showed her evidence of the person sabotaging the company and revealed a shocking secret. He was the man behind the mock company corporation with the power to help her win honorably. Yumu then put on the armor of an ambitious, sharp, and pragmatic woman. Aren't you afraid I'll betray you? That question was her shield, meant to hide her deep pain. I know you won't. It wasn't blind confidence. It was proof that no matter how tough she acted, he could still see her true self. Yumu slowly realized that he not only understood her, but also had special feelings for her. Mr. Veen had always silently protected the woman he loved, even when she kept trying to push him away. Continuing his quiet heroism, after secretly resolving the company's PR crisis, Mr. Veen made another unexpected move. He gave her a luxury car, a gift she considered a shackle, forcing her into a new role, his personal driver, also for his rival in love, Fifi. Although furious, Yumu reluctantly accepted. She knew these were the rules of his game, and if she wanted to stay close to him, she had no other choice. Then came the direct confrontation with Fifi and Mr. Veen's mother, a powerful, sharp, and calculating woman. A psychological test began. Every question from the chairman, about zodiac signs, blood types, and personality quizzes, was a deliberate probe. Despite her thorough preparation, Fifi could only offer superficial answers, trying to prove she was a perfect match for Mr. Veen. Then came a metaphor. What does coffee taste like? It's bitter, but you can add sugar. While Fifi gave a shallow response, Yumu offered a much deeper interpretation, like someone who had weathered many storms. It's exhausting and bitter, but there's a hint of sweetness in the aftertaste. Unintentionally, she struck the very standard the chairman was looking for in a future successor, someone who could endure hardship. Then, in a surprising twist, Mr. Veen's mother announced Fifi would be made brand ambassador, asserting her absolute authority in front of both Fifi and Mr. Veen. But the drama didn't end there. The sudden appearance of a warm and caring former classmate, who brought Yumu comfort and nostalgia, lit the flame of jealousy long simmering inside Mr. Veen. The confrontation between the two men wasn't loud or violent. Their battle took place through polite compliments, civil smiles, and especially, a historic handshake. Mr. Veen squeezed the man's hand with all his strength, a childish, yet desperate and possessive move. It was his way of staking his claim, right in front of the woman he loved. Yumu's patience finally reached its limit. She confronted Mr. Veen about his unprofessional behavior and asserted her freedom. Don't I have the right to like someone else? Her words stabbed straight into his confidence and possessiveness. Later, at the office, Fifi was already waiting for Mr. Veen with a new script in hand. His fiancée began to act with deep emotion. She expressed all her insecurities, her feelings of inferiority due to her background, and her longing for true love. Moved by Mr. Veen's concern, she burst into tears of happiness. However, he kept skillfully avoiding any intimate gestures, which made Fifi furious. Her frustration soon began to show. During a work meeting, Fifi displayed an arrogant attitude, subtly reminding Yumu to know her place. But faced with Yumu's calm and professional demeanor, Fifi dropped her fragile actress act and turned into a thorny rose. The tension peaked in a dramatic confrontation at the parking lot. Overwhelmed by jealousy, Fifi accused Yumu of being two-faced, a cunning woman deliberately seducing her fiancé. Though Mr. Veen tried to intervene, the argument escalated out of control when Yumu slapped her in response to Fifi's aggressive and unreasonable behavior. Fed up, Mr. Veen ended the relationship right there. Later, Yumu recounted the whole incident and was told that with a man like him, sometimes you need to know your worth and act accordingly. At that moment, Thuong Koi Tin suddenly appeared with an arrogant and shameless attitude. He made a crude, provocative remark. As long as they're men, they're bound to cheat. The comment deeply offended both women, who immediately walked away. To their horror, they witnessed Thuong Koi Tin being attacked by a group of unknown assailants who threw a black bag over his head. No one expected what happened next. Their good intentions were twisted into a blatant trap by him. He succeeded in dragging Mr. Veen into a chaotic situation with no way out. At the hospital, posing as the victim, Thuong Koi Tin made a shameless demand. He forced Mr. Veen to make a choice. If you admit that Fifi is your wife, I'll pretend nothing ever happened. So what's your decision? The atmosphere thickened with tension. In front of everyone, Mr. Veen slowly said each word. I admit that she is my wife. Those words stabbed Miu Miu in the heart. But the shock didn't stop there. When questioned about his relationship with Miu Miu, he replied coldly, she's just an ex-girlfriend. A harsh truth they had both kept buried. Feeling deeply insulted, Miu Miu was choked with emotion. How could someone as heartless and cruel as you exist in this world? Her words were the final straw. Mr. Veen's eyes reflected a mix of pain and rage. I became this kind of man because of who, huh? Without giving her a moment to react, he suddenly pulled her in for a fierce kiss. It wasn't a sweet kiss of love. It was a collision of rage, helplessness, sorrow, and a passion suppressed for far too long. The past rushed back like a vivid film reel. Moments of tenderness played in her mind. When they read a book together about the blue morpho butterfly. That's when the idea for a butterfly print mug was born, symbolizing a love just beginning to bloom. But now, it had become a haunting memory. Back in the present, while reviewing design drafts for the company, the image of that butterfly completely distracted Mr. Veen. It was proof that Miu Miu and their memories still held an unerasable place in his heart. As if connected by an invisible thread, Miu Miu's emotions surged at the same time. His image kept swirling in her mind, leaving her restless. The next day, as soon as he heard she was sick, Mr. Veen didn't hesitate to show up at her home. When Miu Miu woke up and saw him, he said, I heard you had a fever. He used work as an excuse to check on her condition. She tried to keep her distance with coldness, but he ignored her rejection and stayed. He even made her a glass of water. His care, though clumsy, was deeply sincere. He sat quietly by her side, not to monitor work, but to watch over her breathing, to ensure she was okay. He admitted that although he had tried to move on, he did everything she had once asked him to do. He met new people, tried new experiences, but in his heart, there was only her. She had torn him apart, yet he couldn't hate her, not even a little. Moments later, Miu Miu fainted from exhaustion. And in the elevator, a fateful encounter marked the end of their ambiguity. The inevitable confrontation finally came. On the hospital stairs, Mr. Veen officially broke up with Fifi. He admitted he couldn't forget his ex and no longer wanted to lie. It was a painful and angry breakup, but one that showed his determination to finally face his true feelings. Back in the hospital room, tension thickened. On one side, there was gentle care. On the other, cold rejection. Miu Miu used reason to push him away, reminding him of his responsibilities to someone else. Who do you really care about? Who does your heart belong to? Can't you see it? His love was so strong, so clear, yet the woman he loved either refused to see it or was too afraid to face it. Luckily, her best friend brought a bit of warmth by revealing that it was Mr. Veen who had been so worried he called her, and even specifically instructed them to buy all of Miu Miu's favorite dishes. Meanwhile, Fifi's rage exploded. She posted a cryptic message online. Tu Veen's mother and his company's management approached him, signaling a new storm brewing in his life. To Tu Veen's mother, emotions meant nothing. What she truly cared about were stock prices and the brand's image, which were now on a steep decline. They hadn't broken up while living together or when their relationship was strained. But now, just after announcing their brand ambassador, the breakup happened. In contrast to all this chaos, Miu Miu appeared calm, independent, and simply wanted to stay out of the fight. However, while the tree wishes to remain still, the wind won't stop blowing. Her presence at the promotional photoshoot became a thorn in Fifi's side. Fifi, of course, wasn't someone to back down. She put on the appearance of a pitiful victim. This time, I believed her. Even though she knew her position was shaky, she insisted on showing up and forcefully asserting her claim. Miu Miu, however, used silence as her weapon. At that moment, Tu Veen appeared with a cold, expressionless face. But Fifi hadn't come just to plead with him. This time, she used the company's interests to bind him, turning herself into an irreplaceable piece in the game. If you keep treating me like this, what do you think tomorrow's headlines will say? Faced with this threat, the CEO could only remain silent and helpless. He was completely bound by family responsibilities and corporate interests. In this game, Tu Veen's mother was the real mastermind. She not only pressured her son directly, but also skillfully used gentle words to test Miu Miu's intentions. Yet Miu Miu remained outwardly calm, revealing no weakness. The mother's goal was to use Miu Miu to persuade Tu Veen. To her, whoever brought more benefit would be the winner. While the real-life battle was intensifying, a reunion with an old friend at an event brought a breath of fresh air. A beautiful past, a pure relationship without hidden motives. But it was soon shattered by malicious attacks from Thuong Koi Tin. What do you think you are? 2135 is her, 246 is you. It wasn't just an insult, it was humiliation. He didn't just mock her, he intentionally trampled on her pride, sowed doubt, and flaunted his own supposed victory. Her silence, though meant to preserve her dignity, became a weakness he dug into. The atmosphere was suffocating, highlighting her helplessness. Then came a sudden reversal. Tuveen pulled her into a passionate kiss, declaring ownership, she's mine. That devastating move silenced all provocation. But it also accidentally hurt the person he loved, sparking an argument under the falling snow. Am I just a toy to you? She asked, voicing the pain of a woman who felt she'd become a tool for a man's ego. He wasn't a heartless dictator. He felt pushed away, and that kiss was a desperate move by a man afraid of being abandoned. And then, the knot was untied. You're my true treasure. A confession both intense and possessive. That absolute sincerity shattered Yumu's emotional defenses, leading to reconciliation through a heartfelt embrace. All the hurt seemed to melt away in a deep, understanding kiss. After the storm came a change of pace, beginning with a fiery interaction in the office, from accidental touches to lingering gazes as she tied his necktie. All these gestures sparked an explosive chemistry, showing they truly belonged to each other. The sudden appearance of his assistant broke the moment, but it brought a light, sweet sense of humor, and their budding romance continued, this time in the elevator. Tuveen's secret hand-holding and Yumu's soft, happy smile turned the cramped elevator into a private heaven where both longed to stay close. Alone at last, their initial restraint started to fade. Their text messages were filled with playful flirtation. I'm pretending to work overtime here. I even get extra pay for it. I'm usually the last one to leave. Come over, I'll recharge your battery. No way, I'm watching you. Everyone else has already gone. Don't come to my place. There are cameras all over the office. Oh, you don't want me to come? It's not like I don't know the password. Their love ignited again with sweet kisses. Then, another couple suddenly appeared. It felt like an adrenaline-pumping game of hide and seek as they ducked behind a reception desk. The thrill of possibly getting caught mixed with the joy of being together, adding a unique flavor to their workplace romance. Their sweetness continued back at her apartment. He didn't just kiss her, he gently slid an ice cube over her lips. The chill sparked a sensation both numbing and electrifying. She gasped. No, this feels like I might get pregnant. If you do, we'll raise the baby together. She blushed and tried to change the subject. I haven't eaten dinner yet. To Tuveen, her words felt like a promise, a sign of taking responsibility. In that moment, she was the only thing he craved. But just as things got heated, the senior appeared. A silent confrontation through looks and words marked the beginning of a complicated love triangle. The air grew thick with tension as the male version of a homewrecker entered the scene. But Tuveen wasn't one to back down. The secret war ignited when he mocked the senior with a butterfly-shaped cup. There's no way she and I would share a cup with you, right, senior? But the senior launched a direct attack from the past. Did you know that when Yumu was 5, she said she wanted to marry me? With just this relationship alone, do I need to keep you here? The silent battle officially began with the smallest details, a fight over a cup, a chicken drumstick, and even the glances they exchanged. Thinking he had the upper hand, the senior confidently launched a finishing blow to gently push Tuveen aside. You two aren't even dating, are you? It's not appropriate for you to stay here. But he was gravely mistaken. Tuveen immediately turned back, pretending he forgot his jacket. Leaning close to Yumu's ear, he whispered, I'm still not full, as if making a subtle invitation. Just that one line transformed the entire atmosphere from tense to fiery. I'm not hungry for food. I'm hungry for you. Right after that came a romantic lift, officially removing the third wheel from the picture. A passionate kiss under the shower, with water cascading down, only intensified the heat and desire between them. It was an eruption of emotions that had been suppressed for so long. After a fiery night came a sweet, peaceful morning. Together in the kitchen, they cooked a simple meal and gently dreamed of a shared future. However, that peace didn't last long, as new storms approached from both sides. On one side, a rival was trying to lure the brand ambassador of Toffee with a tempting offer, willing to pay 3 times the usual fee. On the other side, Yumu was summoned to a private room by Tuveen's mother. She handed over a phone showing a scandalous news article about Tuveen's love life, accompanied by a cold warning. You have 1 week to clean this up. If you do it well, I'll act like nothing ever happened. Later, at a cafe, Yumu unexpectedly ran into her senior. Ironically, he wasn't there to meet her, but to meet a blind date. Yumu accidentally witnessed a stage performance. After some cheesy talk about zodiac signs, the senior delivered a shocking confession. He was a single dad raising a child. The effect was instant. The blind date girl rushed to leave, using the excuse, I think I need to think this through more. She left behind a man burdened with a 4-year-old son who yearned for a mother. Taking the chance, he opened up to Yumu about the pressure of finding a mother for his little boy, a child who had always lacked maternal love. In the end, he asked if she could help organize a birthday party for his son. When Miu Miu returned home, Tuveen was already waiting. He greeted her with a sharp glare and a voice dripping with jealousy. I saw everything. His jealousy was oddly adorable. He was jealous over just a handshake between her and his rival. Although his words were harsh, his heart melted the moment she explained the sad situation of the child. His anger was quickly replaced by understanding, but he still couldn't hide his disappointment when their date plans had to be cancelled. Miu Miu's promise to return before 8:30 became the thread barely holding their peace together. But the next day, an unexpected situation occurred. The little boy, with pure innocence, ran up and hugged Miu Miu tightly, calling out, "Mom." That moment was both sweet and heartbreaking. The peak of awkwardness came when the boy closed his eyes and made a birthday wish in front of the glowing cake. "I wish the pretty lady would become my mom." A child's wish, born from longing for a mother, created a difficult situation, and it was exactly that warmth that made her lose track of time. Meanwhile, Tuveen was sitting alone, eyes fixed on the clock, realizing she was late. He looked at the movie tickets in his hand, his heart heavy. He had given her understanding, but what he received in return was sadness and waiting in vain. After the party ended, Miu Miu returned home and gently covered Tuveen with a blanket as he slept peacefully on the sofa. But that peace was instantly shattered when he saw her sneaking around in a pink suit, carrying a suitcase. Her gaze froze, complicated and unreadable, showing she seemed to be avoiding him. She left and went to a place with a lighthouse. In that unfamiliar place, when she received her room key, the unexpected surprise waiting for her was him. Their reunion wasn't awkward or shy. It was a tight, passionate, and longing hug between lovers who had endured a long separation. He playfully scolded her for not letting him know she'd be late. "You're so heartless." But in truth, that was just a cover for his deep anxiety and fear of losing her. He confessed that during the day she was away, he was terrified, afraid she might have had an accident, afraid someone might deceive her, but most of all, afraid that she didn't need him anymore. That confession was like a key unlocking the past of their 10-year love story. It revealed that their love wasn't just built on romantic moments by the lighthouse, but also forged through trials, hardships, and the pain of separation. He had gone through so much to find her again. That's why he treasured her more than anything and feared losing her above all. While the couple was still immersed in sweetness, the next day abruptly shifted into a harsh and gritty reality. At a construction site, Miu Miu, in the role of a manager, faced a tense workers' strike. The conflict wasn't just about money, but also about humanity, when the protest leader used the excuse of his 80-year-old mother being hospitalized to apply pressure. The situation spiraled out of control. Tuveen didn't hesitate to use his own body as a shield. A hard hit landed, and he collapsed, blood spreading across his forehead. Miu Miu screamed in panic. "Tuveen! Tuveen!" Her panic was overwhelming. Fifi was equally worried. She stormed into the lion's den. "Was the stunt at the art cafe you're doing?" Confronted by an enraged Fifi, Thuong Koi smirked arrogantly. "Miss Chu Thursday really is quite resourceful. If anything happens to Tuveen, I will never forgive you." Meanwhile, the hospital scene was steeped in worry and chaos. Then came the moment Tuveen opened his eyes, pretending to be weak. Miu Miu's emotions overflowed as she threw her arms around him in a tight embrace, her voice trembling with tears. "You scared me to death." This sweet yet heartbreaking moment was a testament to a love that had weathered every storm, a love that had grown so strong, nothing could shake it. But before happiness could fully settle in, a real storm arrived, this time in the form of Tuveen's powerful mother. She didn't just coldly watch her son being affectionate with Miu Miu, she also arranged a fateful conversation with her. That conversation dropped a bombshell, revealing a cruel truth. Their relationship wasn't just about a master and a maid. It was bound by a 10-year contract. 10 years ago, in order to save her dying father, Miu Miu had agreed to sacrifice a decade of her youth, working like a pawn in the chairwoman's hands in exchange for that life-saving grace. In return, the chairwoman had promised that if Miu Miu and Tuveen still had feelings for each other after those 10 years, she would give them her blessing. Now that the 10 years were coming to an end, and their love had blossomed beautifully, the chairwoman decided to show her true colors. She twisted that favor from the past into a weapon, a shackle that chained Miu Miu tightly. Coldly, she reminded Miu Miu of her poor past, and of the privileges she now had. Thanks to whom? She accused Miu Miu of being ungrateful, ready to break a promise for love. Miu Miu's tears were full of bitterness, helplessness from seeing true love treated like a joke, and pain from watching her loyalty reduced to something that could be bought or sold. Her love with Tuveen, once so beautiful, now stood on the edge of collapse because of a contract signed with tears and sacrifice. Each slow, heavy note of sadness pulled Miu Miu deeper into an air of loss and burden. "My father's life was only prolonged because of you." Those words were both gratitude and an invisible chain that bound her soul. Their family reunion wasn't a moment of pure joy. It was streaked with tears born from a past filled with sacrifice. Before the pain could heal, tension escalated in a new setting. This time, It was a fiery confrontation between Tu Veen and his mother. If Miu Miu's burden was family, then Tu Veen's was love and the need to fight against societal prejudice. Their argument wasn't just about a couple. It was a clash between two generations, two life philosophies. Love is not weakness. Those with narrow minds are truly the weak ones. After all the stress, they took a much-needed break in Miu Miu's hometown. It was a beautiful, peaceful place filled with warmth. That warmth didn't only come from the idyllic scenery, but also from the simplest things: her mother's loving scolding, her younger sister's surprising wisdom, and even the nosy but very human curiosity of the neighbor. It was the perfect remedy, helping Miu Miu regain her balance. In a cozy little room, Miu Miu quietly flipped through an old notebook, facing alone the 10 years of her youth and silent love. Just then, outside her window, fireworks suddenly lit up the night sky. Snowflakes gently floated down, creating a heart-stirring scene. Her little sister burst in, holding up a photo of a lonely man standing on the bridge. Her heart skipped a beat. She rushed outside, unbothered by the cold, and saw that familiar figure standing on the bridge. Time seemed to freeze. The fireworks lit up the sky like a grand welcome for their reunion after years apart. "Why are you here?" "I came to spend New Year's Eve with you." He hadn't just come. He brought an entire sky full of fireworks, making up for all the lonely New Year's Eves they had missed. Amid the past hurt and misunderstandings, he said sincerely, "If we truly want to be together, we must let go of the emotional baggage of the past. For me, for the memories we've built. Can we be selfish just this once?" This confession not only erased the distance between them, but confirmed a deep, enduring love that had never died. Afterward, he went with her to meet her family. "Auntie, Miu Miu and I have been together for 10 years. I've thought it through. I want to spend the rest of my life with her. Today I'm here to ask for your blessing. If you agree, tomorrow when the civil office opens, I'll take her to register our marriage." His honesty left everyone stunned. One of the aunts spoke up, both cautious and protective of her niece. "Marriage is a big deal. It must be taken seriously." Without hesitation, to prove his sincerity and capability, Tu Veen began taking things out of his bag. "This is the deed to a house, already in her name. This is the betrothal gift, with enough money inside to buy another house. Here are the keys to a luxury car and company share certificates. And finally, this is my health report. I'm in excellent health, able to have children." Everything was carefully prepared, not to show off, but to prove one thing. He came with sincerity, responsibility, and a solid future for the woman he loves. In front of the whole family, he got down on one knee and opened a box with sparkling diamonds. "Will you marry me?" Through tears of joy, Miu Miu softly replied, "I will." The scene shifted to the happy couple registering their marriage and shopping together at the supermarket. He pushed the cart, playfully calling out, "Wifey, wifey." His mischievous tone and doting gaze painted the perfect picture of a simple, happy married life that anyone would dream of. It showed that after all the storms and grand gestures, love is truly nurtured through the smallest, most ordinary moments like this. But the storm soon arrived. Miu Miu had to face Tu Veen's mother. On the surface, it appeared to be a refined afternoon tea, but in reality, it was a battlefield without gunfire. A powerful chairwoman with the air of a ruler didn't use her authority to suppress. Instead, she chose a weapon far more terrifying: the story of her own life. She spoke of her painful past, a broken marriage, and nearly 30 years of loneliness. With words both sincere and piercing, she painted a bleak future she feared her son and daughter-in-law might repeat. She also revealed she had terminal cancer and used this as justification to propose a cruel test. She agreed to let them be together, but in return, Miu Miu had to keep this meeting a secret. In doing so, she made Miu Miu an accomplice in her own plan, binding her with sympathy and a promise of honor. Later, at the company's annual conference, while Miu Miu confidently stood on stage, a bombshell was dropped. A photo of her and Tu Veen's marriage certificate was suddenly projected onto the big screen for all the executives and employees to see. Chaos erupted, and the mastermind succeeded in landing a devastating blow. This not only exposed their secret, but stripped them of control over their narrative, turning the most sacred moment of their lives into a scandal for public gossip. Confronted by his mother's accusations, Tu Veen finally erupted, releasing a decade of pent-up fury. "Did you ever think about how I felt? If you hadn't separated us 10 years ago, none of this would have happened. Isn't my defiance your doing?" Though his mother tried to maintain her composure, she couldn't hide the tears in her eyes or her trembling hands. But the real climax came when a devastating contract was brought to light. That invisible chain had bound Miu Miu's life. Tu Veen read it aloud, each bitter and cruel clause cutting into the hearts of all three present. Then, in one final act of helplessness and pain, he tore the contract apart. It was a bold declaration of freedom and love. He turned away, leaving behind a broken mother and a speechless lover. In contrast to the stormy conference room, their cozy apartment was peaceful. Miu Miu gently prepared dinner to comfort her man. Though the room was quiet, emotions still lingered. She lovingly handed him a dumpling. Not just an act of care, but a healing remedy, a silent promise that no matter what, she would always be there. This peaceful pause revealed the deep bond between them amidst the chaos. As for Tu Vin's mother, she had lost the very game she thought she was controlling. In another part of the story, Fifi, heartbroken, turned to alcohol for comfort. Thuong Koi Tin appeared, whispering venomous words, stirring jealousy within her. Are you really willing to watch the man you love live happily with your enemy? These schemes made it clear that the happiness of Tu Vin and Yumu was still under threat from all sides. Then came the most brutal twist. Just as they were enjoying a rare peaceful moment and dreaming of a happy future, a phone call pulled them back to harsh reality. With panicked faces, they rushed to the hospital. There, Fifi sat on the hospital bed, her wrist bandaged. Facing Tu Vin, she admitted she had deliberately sabotaged the contract and intentionally did things to make him hate her. Not out of revenge, but because she hoped that his hatred could destroy the love that was tormenting her. Her love, after so many years, had become a sickness. She chose to hurt herself as a form of poisonous cure. From beginning to end, Tu Vin could only listen in helpless silence. She no longer needed to cling to the past, because the future had gently come to find her. A new man, warm, thoughtful, and a lovely little boy were the new path fate had prepared for her. Perhaps this is what people mean when they say, when God closes one door, he opens another. It was proof of her emotional growth and inner peace. Leaving the hospital room of his past, Tu Vin then faced an even harsher truth, his mother's malignant cancer diagnosis. No longer the cold CEO, he became a broken son, devastated by the possibility of losing the person he loved most. As he stood dazed outside the operating room, childhood memories flooded back. Hot buns on a snowy day pierced his soul, reminding him that the pain of losing a loved one was far worse than heartbreak. Fortunately, the surgery was successful. His tears burst forth in Yumu's arms, releasing all tension and opening a new chapter for him. Time passed. A month later, all wounds seemed healed. Though Tu Vin's mother now sat in a wheelchair, her kind smile spoke volumes as she handed a jade bracelet to Yumu. It was a silent blessing. Now we should change how we address each other, right? Though still shy, Yumu's warm word, Mom, officially brought an end to all the storms. A new family had finally been built. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to support us.